So I am Patience Chindong, and I am the co-founder also of EuroAfri Link. And what we do basically is that we link agri producers from Africa to European market. I am so passionate about this because I have seen a lot of potentials with African products here in Europe. The products are really needed here in Europe, but how do you get this product from Africa to Europe is the problem. And we are there to bridge that gap. And same as Wangeshi said, we also advise producers where to get this certification, how to do the documentation to get your product safely here in Europe, especially here at the Port of Rotterdam, without being rejected. So thank you for that.
How is it people can actually use your model? Can you train people to use your model? For example, someone wants to say from Africa to the US, Africa to the Middle East, Africa to Australia. What can you do? Because I believe information and collaboration is what's going to transform this continent. Could you share with us any thoughts you have around you engaging the diaspora, then using your model so that everybody wins and you win too, right?
Great. And I am so happy you asked this question. And I am really just so happy to talk to you about it. So as I said, what we do at EuroAfri Link is that we link Africa to Europe in terms of trade, in terms of funding, and in terms of education. These are our three services, but our core service is trade. So when we started this organization, we linking producers and buyers. We discovered that when it comes to African producers, they are really lacking behind when it comes to international trade. Why? Because they don't actually know what it takes to sell abroad. What are the standards? What is the quality? Where can I get the documentation? How is the shipping done? How is the price? All this information. And then at the end of the day, they ask, is the product even the right fit? Mm-hmm. So we saw that, and when you come to Europe, when it comes, for example, in agri product, let me tell you what we are producing in Africa, they are also producing in Latin America. Mexico, they produce amazing avocados. They produce also amazing pineapples, and we do that also in Africa. So how can our products stand in the world market? How can we differentiate ourselves and make it stand? Knowing what I knew, and as I come from Africa, I knew that our product is actually the best, but we must be able to articulate that and brand that in such a way that it reflects who we are. So I started then teaching. So teaching the African farmers exactly what you need to sell your product abroad. And we do that training every month. So all of you are invited to the next training is even this month on the 21st. So we give them this step by step because I've attended a lot of conferences and webinars where the advice to producers is, okay, you have to get market. But my biggest question is how? How do you do that? So I decided to design this training program where I take the producers step by step, and this step by step has to be in an orderly fashion, in high quality, to help them know exactly what it takes, what it needs to be able to export abroad in such a way that you don't need to have the product, the avocado, already to start exporting, but you have all this information in you, so much so that when you engage in the import-export, you are ready. And that is then what is costing some of our producers because they have amazing product, but they're not yet ready. And what do the buyer do? They go to somebody who is ready. And when they are buying a product, mind you, they are not only buying the product, the avocado, they are buying all the documentation that comes with it, all the transportation that comes with it, all these other things that come with export import. So that is exactly what we are struggling to do to help our Africans be ready for this market. So right now, what we are planning to do, so we train them, we show them where to get the documentation in their local authorities. And then we take this product for them here in Europe. So I can get the product for you here in Rotterdam. and help distribute that for you. So I can also act as off-taker if the buyer wants the product right at their warehouse. So these are additional services that we do. Right now, we are lobbying for funding to be able to create this amazing warehouse where all this African product will be here in Europe. In that case, the buyer will not be complaining, we want to buy, but it's just headache dealing with these Africans. I don't know what. So we want this warehouse here in Europe to make African closer than ever. Then there will be no excuse why they won't buy from Africa. And that is also why I want to invite all African Union countries, because we have to do that for ourselves. We don't have to wait on Europeans to help us do that. So we need to have this warehouse where we bring African closer, and I'm really lobbying for all of us to put hands together to help our farmers, because this is just the amazing way for us to empower them. And as Wanjisi said, if you empower somebody through trade, it is really better than developmental help. A farmer will be very happy when they sell their avocado for 10 euro than giving them 10 euro. So this is where we come in, and we want to really make that really effective, showcase our story. I talk about that a lot on LinkedIn. I ask, is there any limit what African can do with our fertile soil? And we have like 60% arable land, which is not even being used. Why should we go to work and start using this land and bringing these goods over here in Europe, which is really of high demand? You see the crisis in Europe, in Ukraine, the war, and also the pandemic. This is an amazing opportunity that has made us to realize what we do really have. Because I was asking myself, what do all these Europeans see in Africa that we Africans, we don't see? We have abundant resources, and we have to be able to make use of that to better our lives and also serve the community for a better good. Thank you.
Someone is asking, it's you mentioned that it's easier to get produce from Latin America. What would be the competitive edge to choose Africa? What, maybe just make it a little bit clear for someone in the diaspora who's saying, I want to participate in trade, but you're saying it's easier to get the produce from Latin America. What's our competitive edge?
The thing is that it's not, what I meant by that is that when you compare Latin America to Africa, in particular when it comes to international trade, they are ready. They are ready, they produce in mass, their technology is massive. I was really fortunate to work with also one, because when it comes to trading in Europe, you know, the standards remain the same, whether you are importing from Latin America, from Asia, from China, from Africa. When it comes to food safety, it applies to everybody. And that is really very important. So people are contacting me not only from the African continent, even though that was the idea, but they want to trade also in Europe. And they are asking me, how do we go about that? Because we really love the European market. So when it comes to them, they are already ready. They have the information when it comes to paperwork, when it comes to explaining how the product is ready. How do you disinfect the pineapple, coding, waxing, all these things. But when you ask for an African producer, what is your product specification? What do you even mean by that? What are the documentation? What do you mean? What are the, so they are really, some of them are really clueless, whereas they have amazing product. So that is why this training comes in handy, so that you don't start producing, having all these tons of avocado before you start go looking for certification. It takes time. Look for the documentation. It takes time. Start before you are ready. So that is my message. So when it comes to Latin America, when it comes to their pricing, when it comes to their technology, when it comes to their readiness, as I said, it's not only the product, but all the documentation, the branding, everything that surrounds the product. That is what the buyer is buying. It's not only the product. So that is then what I notice. And that is why I want to bridge that gap to make my African brothers and sisters producers of agri product, which is really amazing. When I go to the market, I always like to buy pineapples. I just put it in my head that it is from Africa, even though I see, because I have farmers, especially from Kenya, they have amazing product, amazing avocados, and I really want to up their game to be able to be competitive, because buying, for Europeans to buy your product from Africa, it's not because you are an African, it's not because you are a woman, it's because your product is of quality and the price is right, the packaging is right, and they will get engaged. But how do you get engaged if you don't know that information? So that is where we come in. So comparatively to Latin America, they are ready. It doesn't mean their product are superior to us, but they are ready to trade in international market. But for Africa, majority of them are not yet. So what we do at EuroAfric Link is that we want to take it step after step, step by step. So we are starting with commodity, meaning if you sell, for example, your mango, your pineapples, as I said, when you want to export this pineapple abroad, it is quite different from how you harvest this pineapple and go to the local market and sell. You have to wash the pineapple, disinfect the pineapple, and coat the pineapple before it gets to Europe. For me, that is value addition in its own way. Value addition is not only transforming the pineapple to juice, which is also another very important value addition. But for now, we want to start small, get everybody engaged, and invite also like the diaspora. Okay, now we have already started this and we already know the route. We know how to export. Let's take it to the next step. We can't do everything all at once, or else we'll crash. So we take it one step at a time. Of course, I like the idea of value addition, changing these pineapples to juice, or even using the waste of these pineapples for shoes, for leather bags, because there is a company here in the Netherlands that actually do that with mangoes. They do leather jacket out of mangoes. And this is also additional jobs for the women, for the people that are involved in this particular business. So I totally agree with you. Value addition is very important, but I ask myself, are we ready for this? Should I wait for the value addition before I start linking people, or I should start linking them with what they already have at the moment? Then, because I'm also a board member at the EU Tech Chamber, and there my focus is actually to use technology to add value to this product. So that is then where I will then try to see how I can add value, not only with the finished product, even starting with the seeds. Do they have quality seeds? Are these the type of seeds that when they produce the final product is needed in Europe? Because we have to work, it's a two-way stream. What is Europe actually looking for in this product? How can we make sure that we have that quality that they are looking for to ensure a continuous trade? I want people to rely on their product and on themselves, so much so that when you produce, you make a plan. I have 10 tons of avocados. I can sell this 10 tons of avocados, and the money I get from it, I build my house. Instead of waiting for other sources, because when you concentrate on this one and do it right, I bet you the money will come. So this is where we want to start. And it's not only with product. Later, we'll also go to animal feed, or the cows and the chickens and things like that, and see if there is also a market for them. I was trained at Wagner University, one of the most renowned universities in the world when it comes to agriculture. And my specialization was food law in international settings. So I really understand, the import-export when it comes to these fruits, or how you produce a crop, how you process it, and how you export it. So this is what I really want to share. I really want Africans to have this information, to know it, to embed it in their trade, and to just be competitive in the world market. I want to go to the market and buy pineapples from Africa, because that is also what I will encourage. When I go to the market, I encourage my friends, please, did you see our product is in Lidl? Go to Lidl and buy pineapples from Kenya, pineapples or chocolates made from cocoa from Cameroon. All these things, this is what I want to showcase and really just empower these women, not only the women themselves, but also the men that are involved in this trade. Because I see women empowerment. If you do it only women, then the men are excluded. But we live in a realistic world where you have women and men. So I want all of us to be involved and get this done and be ready, because there is a lot out here to exploit. And we have amazing talent, and I don't want us to waste that talent. I want to first of all just thank you for this amazing conference. I am learning also a lot. I am living here with bag of knowledge. I want to say the diaspora, you have knowledge about the cultures on both sides. You can actually act as a bridge. It's not only in agriculture, there is a lot of employment opportunities in Africa when it comes to electricity, when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to security or employment. This you can fill in that gap. You can't just believe that you can do it. Others have done it, so I don't see why I will be special. You go for it. And with collaboration, as Joyce and Wanjisi said, all of us is a puzzle that we have to make together to make our continent better and more competitive in the world market. So thank you all and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Patience. Over to you.